You think you're forgettable to her, but the truth is you're probably more important than you can emotionally afford to admit right now. You're walking around acting like you were a chapter in her life when in her nervous system you might be the standard. Listen, this is going to sting because your problem isn't that you don't matter. Your problem is you keep trying to prove you matter in a way that makes you look like you don't. If you need reminders like this, if you need truth that doesn't coddle you, subscribe. Not for me, for you, because your mind will lie to you at 2:00 a.m. and you'll go chasing crumbs like they're a meal. You need consistent clarity. You need the kind of voice that drags you back to self-respect before you embarrass yourself. Here's what it really means. When you feel like you didn't matter to her, it doesn't mean you were nothing. It means you were something real. And the moment you started leaking that reality into desperation, you turned your value into pressure. And pressure doesn't feel like love. Pressure feels like a problem. Let's build this correctly. The misconception is this. You think if a woman isn't texting you, if she looks fine without you, if she's posting smiling pictures, then you meant nothing. You think silence equals indifference. You think her moving on fast means you were replaceable. But the hard truth is simpler and harsher. People don't always grieve publicly, and women especially are often trained to regulate emotions socially, meaning they can look composed while their inner world is rearranging furniture. They can act over it while still measuring every man after you against a standard you set without even trying. And before you puff your chest and misharm me, this isn't about you being the prize in some cringe fantasy. This is about psychology. This is about imprint. This is about what happens when you show up in a woman's life as a stable signal in a world full of noise. You want the definition? Here it is. When you're the man who was consistent, grounded, and self-respecting, when you didn't just talk big, you lived steady, you become a reference point. That's called imprinting, not manipulation, not control, imprinting. The mind stores you as a template, but here's where you keep blowing it. You confuse mattering with being chosen. Right now. You matter and she still might not choose you. You matter and she still might walk away. You matter. And she still might go test the world, because attraction isn't morality and feelings aren't vows. Your ego wants a courtroom verdict. Guilty or innocent, love or hate, stay or leave, text or ghost. But human beings don't work like that. They're messy, they're contradictory, they can miss you and still refuse you, they can think about you and still block you, they can respect you and still not be ready for you, and if that hurts, good. Let it hurt, because the moment you accept that reality, you stop doing the most unattractive thing a man can do, begging reality to be different. Now let's talk about why you matter more to her than you realize. Because women don't attach to words the way men think they do. Words matter, yes, but what lodges deep is how you made her body feel over time. Not butterflies, not drama, safety, tension held with control, the feeling that your presence meant order, that your leadership meant she could exhale, that your standards weren't a punishment. They were a structure. A woman can find attention anywhere. She can find compliments in any comment section. She can find a guy willing to say, "Good morning, beautiful," like it's a job. But she cannot easily find a man whose inner world is governed. A man who doesn't need her to be okay. A man who doesn't outsource his identity to her mood. That's rare. And you know what else is rare? A man who leaves clean. A man who doesn't smear her. A man who doesn't chase her. A man who doesn't punish her with tantrums and paragraphs. A man who says with calm finality, "I want you, but I don't need you. And I will not abandon myself to keep access to you." When you do that, you don't just become memorable, you become undeniable. Now, the root cause of your confusion is that you're looking for visible proof. You want her to validate your significance by reaching out, by crying, by regretting, by posting sad songs, by giving you the theatrical evidence your wounded pride can consume. But female psychology, again, patterns not absolutes, often runs on something more private, emotional accounting. She's not always thinking, "I miss him, I miss him, I miss him." She's thinking, "Was I more calm with him or without him?" She's thinking, "Did I feel protected or did I feel managed?" She's thinking, "Did he see me or did he chase me?" She's thinking, "Could I respect him when it got hard?" And that's where you need to stop flattering yourself and start being honest. Because if you were unstable, inconsistent, jealous, resentful, or performative, if you tried to lock her down with fear or hold her with emotional debt, then yes, you may have been intense, but you were not anchoring. And intensity without anchoring doesn't become "I can't forget him." It becomes "I can't do that again." So ask yourself, were you a man she could exhale around, or were you a man she had to manage? Were you presence, or were you noise? Because there's a big difference between being unforgettable and being unforgettable for the wrong reasons. Now, if you were solid, if you showed character, here's what it costs her when she loses you. It costs her the quiet confidence that comes from being with a man who's going somewhere. It costs her the nervous system calm of being next to a man who can handle friction without collapsing. It costs her the luxury of being feminine without feeling unsafe. And I'm not talking about stereotypes. I'm talking about polarity, the ability to soften because she trusts the environment won't fall apart. It costs her the mirror of her highest self because a high-standard man pulls a woman upward without begging her to climb. And that is why you matter more than you realize, because you weren't just a guy, you were an ecosystem. But listen carefully, because this is where men ruin the whole thing. The moment you sense you mattered, you start trying to use it. You start thinking, if I mattered, she'll come back. You start thinking, if I mattered, I should send one more message. You start thinking, if I mattered, I can win. That's called bargaining, that's called addiction to outcome, that's called handing your power to a maybe. And it turns you from a man into a request. Here's the reframe you need. Your value is not proven by her return, your value is proven by your standards. Let me say it slower. If you matter, you don't chase. If you matter, you don't beg. If you matter, you don't audition. You don't show her what she lost by showing her you're lost without her. You show her what she lost by moving like a man who can lose something and still keep his spine. Now, I'm going to step on your ego again because you need it. A lot of you aren't heartbroken, you're ego broken. You don't just miss her, you miss the version of you that felt chosen. You don't just want her. You want relief from the withdrawal, you don't want love, you want certainty. And you keep calling it closure when what you really want is permission to stop feeling. But closure is a gift you give yourself by telling the truth. It ended. It changed. It's not yours right now, and that right now part is important because a woman's mind is not a simple light switch. It's more like seasons. She can be done and then weeks later feel a wave. She can be sure and then a memory hits her like a body shot. She can be distracted and then she sees something that reminds her of the man who made her feel held. And here's the part you're not ready for. Sometimes she feels that wave and she still won't reach out because she knows you'll ruin it. She knows you'll make it heavy. She knows you'll try to turn one moment of softness into a contract. She knows you'll act like her missing you is an obligation. And the moment you do that, you don't become the man she misses. You become the reason she stays away. So let's talk about the man who embodies the solution. He is not cold. He is controlled, he is not indifferent, he is disciplined, he doesn't posture, he doesn't perform strength like it's a costume. He has strength because he built it in the dark when no one was clapping. He has boundaries that don't need a speech. He has standards that don't need threats. His no is calm, his yes is deliberate. His attention is earned, not extracted. He doesn't text to soothe his anxiety. He doesn't check her page to measure his worth. He doesn't interpret her silence as a verdict on his identity. He moves forward quietly, relentlessly. He has a purpose that existed before her and will exist after her. Not because he's heartless, but because he respects himself too much to make a woman his religion. And here's what that man understands about female psychology. A woman doesn't fall in love with a man who needs her. She falls in love with the man she can trust. And trust is built when your emotions don't hijack your behavior. She watches what you do when you don't get what you want. She watches how you handle disappointment. She watches whether you become petty or you become better. That's the test. And yes, it's unfair sometimes. Yes, it's maddening, but it's reality. And you don't get to be a grown man and demand reality be gentle. Now let's get extremely practical, because motivation without instruction is just entertainment. And you're not here to be entertained, you're here to be rebuilt. Do this. Stop seeking proof that you mattered. Stop rereading old messages like they're scripture. Stop fishing for signs. Stop asking mutual friends. Stop watching her life from the bushes like your dignity is optional. You stop. You redirect your attention back to what you control. You control your body, train it, lift, run. Sweat until the emotional static clears and your mind remembers you're a man, not a thought. You control your money, tighten it, build it, learn, earn, because financial competence isn't just practicality, it's self-trust in physical form. You control your environment, clean it, simplify it, make your space match the man you're becoming, not the man who was waiting for a text. You control your brotherhood, strengthen it, get around men who don't let you spiral. Men who will tell you, put the phone down, and mean it. You control your mission, pick one, a real one's not getting her back, something that forces you to grow even when you don't feel like it. And here's the one you don't want to do, but it's the most important. Control your mouth. Stop explaining yourself to someone who already made a choice. Stop sending paragraphs. Stop trying to be understood by someone committed to misunderstanding you. That's called self-abandonment, and women can feel it. They might not articulate it, but they feel the drop in your center. If you must communicate, communicate like a man with a spine. Short, clear, respectful, final, no hidden hooks, no bait, no emotional invoices. Now some of you are thinking, but what if I really did matter? What if she's testing me? What if she's waiting? Good, let's answer that without fantasy. If you mattered, she will feel the absence of access, not the absence of your pleading, the absence of access. Your job is not to convince her. Your job is to maintain a life that doesn't collapse when she's gone, because the strongest message you can send is silence backed by stability. Presence versus silence, reality versus fantasy, self-respect versus self-betrayal. Which side are you on? And don't confuse this with games. This isn't ignore her to make her want you. That's manipulation and it's weak. This is I will not chase what doesn't choose me. I will not beg for what I can build. I will not negotiate against myself. This is self-relimation. Now let's hit the emotional center of it, because I know what you're really afraid of. You're afraid you were easy to replace. You're afraid she'll find someone taller, richer, smoother, and you'll become a footnote. You're afraid your love was wasted. But that fear is the child in you talking. That fear is the part of you that equates being chosen with being worthy. And I'm telling you, man to man, that's the wrong equation. Your worth is intrinsic. Your value is constructed. She can replace your role. She cannot replace your identity, but you have to actually have one. If you don't have a clear identity, then yeah, anybody can take your place because there was nothing uniquely built about you. You were just available, so build something. Become the man who is hard to follow, not because he's arrogant, but because his life has momentum. Become the man whose absence creates contrast, not chaos. Because when a woman looks back, she doesn't miss the man who made her feel guilty. She misses the man who made her feel safe and alive at the same time. And that combination, safety and aliveness, doesn't come from chasing. It comes from leadership. It comes from decisiveness. It comes from a calm nervous system. It comes from a man who can say, I want you, without saying, please save me from myself. Now let's address the other side. Maybe you did mess it up. Maybe you were inconsistent. Maybe you were reactive. Maybe you broke trust. If that's you, don't drown in shame. Use it. Regret is useless when it's emotional. Regret is powerful when it becomes instruction. Take inventory. Where did you lie? Where did you avoid responsibility? Where did you get lazy? Where did you become entitled? Where did you stop leading your own life and start monitoring hers? Name it, own it, fix it, not to get her back, to get you back, because here's another hard truth. Even if she returns, you won't keep her with the same man who lost himself. You'll only recreate the same ending with a different calendar. So rebuild quietly, aggressively, patiently. And if she ever comes back around, if she ever tests the water, you don't greet her with hunger, you greet her with standards. You don't punish, you don't lecture, you don't act like she owes you, you assess. You ask, is she bringing peace or bringing confusion? Is she bringing effort or bringing excuses? Is she coming with respect or coming with entitlement? And you choose from your center, not from your wounds. That's what self-respect looks like. That's what masculine integrity looks like. And here's the secret you've been missing. The more you become that man, the less you need the validation of whether you mattered, because you'll know you matter. You'll matter in your own eyes. You'll matter to your future. You'll matter to the world you're building, and paradoxically, that's when women feel you the most, when your identity doesn't depend on their attention. So let me end this by resetting your identity. You are not the guy she left. You are not the message she didn't answer. You are not the memory she posted over. You are not the rebound she used to cope. You are the man who learned. You are the man who tightened his standards. You are the man who stopped negotiating with loneliness. You are the man who became undeniable not because he demanded to be seen, but because he built a life that couldn't be ignored. You are the answer. And if you want more of this, more truth, more clarity, more reminders when your emotions try to drag you into weakness, subscribe. Not because I need numbers, because you need reinforcement. You need a signal in a world that tells you to numb out, settle, and beg. You're not alone in this. There's a tribe of men rebuilding the same way. Quiet, disciplined, self-respecting. Stay with us. Keep showing up. Keep your spine.